The beats, the flow, the rhythm, all movement starts from the streets. Streets A&R Podcast. I just gotta breathe. The days of saying something that means something are back. No more dormant energy. No more being afraid to speak truth, especially when truth is light. Getting back to it, man. It never left, but sometimes the forces will try to silence, man. You told me something pretty profound when we was talking about understanding this chaos and understanding where people at, and you said it was something along the lines of in a place of chaos, order is not only sexy, it's revered, it's looked for, it's searched for. And the boogeyman, sometimes I always remind people of, the evil character in the antagonist, not evil character, the antagonist always has a righteous motive. And in this instance, the antagonist is the one that just goes against what's common, what's popular. When we talk about music, what's typically put out there. Somebody that speaks the truth of the matter at almost all times. Somebody that searches self and talks about the battles with they self. That talks about the battles from which they came from. What their mind was thinking when things were done. I always told the truth about what really happened, how it happened, and make it in a way that's beautiful and digestible for some, and some where it's just made in a way where they just skip right over it, but still to touch you. The music's boogeyman, rap's boogeyman, rap's Joker, rap's Bane. Those characters. We talking about our brother Kung Fu Kenny, K. Dot, Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. And we talked about a long time of just with our pod, man, here at the Streets A&R. I was like, we got to do something for people while they alive. And was coming up with stuff. I was like, man, we got to give flowers. It's good to praise people. I love when artists come on here and praise the little things we've done, not to say we do more, but it feels good to feel that gratitude from things you did out of love. And I think Kendrick is one of those people who has given a whole lot. I think sometimes far more than what people recognize, and the impact ain't felt yet. So we got to give him his flowers. And since we coming from the streets, I want to call this, and this is such a fitting first person we give this to, giving him our concrete rose. First time we giving out a concrete rose. And what that is just giving people while they alive, in their form, still ascending, giving they props for what they already doing and where the trajectory they about to take off on. Because they getting it out oftentimes from a hardened place, and still have to be vulnerable, still have to know how to express beauty through the hardness of the streets and the path that they took. So we giving, this episode is for my brother Kendrick, man. And we gonna dive into more about it, but Kendrick is, that's our concrete rose. And it's so fitting, even just from his last album, and I know brother Johnny got the chance to dive into and to understand listening to that, to Pimp a Butterfly, and the culmination of that poem leading into the interview with Tupac, who wrote a poetry book called Rose from the Concrete, I believe. It's on my shelf. You know what I'm saying? And so I like it's like synchronous. It's synchronous right now what we doing. But we got to give my rose to our brother Kendrick, and we gonna just dive. This is a Kendrick show, man. This is a Kendrick appreciation, a love, a understanding, a show of we understand. We don't just hear it. I understand. I'm only a month older. Only a month. Seen some of the things he's seen. Didn't have to live the way he lived though. So I always come at it with a different perspective, but I understand. I don't know if something was in the air around that time. You know what I'm saying? But I caught it too. I like to think I did. I think people around me feel like I did. So, well, Kendrick, this one's for you, my brother. I don't even know where to start, man. I'm gonna let Johnny say some words, and we just gonna let this go. We ain't gonna be all day, but we gonna let it go. Full of just talk about, Kendrick, his impact and his work and the excitement on the culmination, like this final project from what he started to starting his own thing.
Yeah. I don't know where to start. I'm one of those people where you gotta kind of give me a direction, because the way my mind works, I think on things on multiple levels. But when I think about like just the artistry of Kendrick, I think it just bring me back to the first song that I ever heard from him. And it was one of his songs where he talked about that he don't even smoke. I don't even smoke. I don't even smoke. He's talking about how this is what he do sober, like mentally this is what he do, and he don't even smoke, so that was the first track that I ever heard from Kendrick, that when I got turned on to Kendrick. And I think it's fitting for Kendrick to do a tribute to Nipsey, because I found out about Kendrick and Nipsey on the same day. Like, remember the first song I heard from Nip, Blue Laces. So it's like the first song from Kendrick that really stood out to me was Growing Apart, though. Like, that was just next level, especially understanding. I think that one thing with people like Kendrick is you understand concepts. Like, you got to be able to see the full picture. And I think like the concept was, we think that falling in love isn't supposed to be painful when it's in the description of the title. You fall in love, you're supposed to grow in love. So it's little things about like growing in love. And if you don't grow in love, you grow apart. It's like those type of concepts is things that's bigger picture that artists like Kendrick put into the music. So I just appreciate that type of that conceptual music, where it's a full integrated piece. You can't take the piece away from the whole. And even if you do, it stands alone, but the whole itself still stands as an individual piece. That's artistry.
Yes, sir. Actually, I remember being in grad school. I'd be like, yo, I'm old. I remember being in grad school, and then the little homie Dave Bird. He's like, hey, bro, you listen, you ever heard of Kendrick Lamar? Like, no, I ain't familiar. And this is either somewhere between 2011 and 12, so around there. So at least 10 years ago. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, bro, because he knew I was into music. This is well before DJing and all that, but I would always be listening and talking music and talking hip hop and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, bro, you gotta, just at the gym. I remember being at the gym, and we was chopping it up. And he was like, you gotta dive into this, brother. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna check him out, Boy, I was mad at myself for not jumping on that even earlier. And that's early for most people.
That was early.
That's early. And and I just remember hearing, there's always certain songs that stuck with me that really showed me his how dynamic of an artist he was and where his mind was going. It's telling the story of, it's 3 songs that always stuck with me that made me a fan. Rigor Mortis, ADHD, and Cartoon and Cereal.
Okay. I ain't heard Cartoons and Cereal. I ain't heard Rigor Mortis. I know I done seen them. I ain't listened to them.
Rigor Mortis is extremely fast, and um, yeah, it was the flow, the flow, and then the cadence in which he captured in that song, and even in the flow, like he's talking, he getting busy, like we'll play it after a while, but Rigor Mortis was one of my first ones, and then I remember him getting, I think he was spitting the cadence so ill, he got a remix. But this before he blew up, he got a remix with Busta Rhymes. So you had to be spitting that quick, you know what I'm saying? And then ADHD was like that one, just because he embodied the sound of people from our generation, how they, we grow up, 80s babies, late 80s babies, not claiming like millennial. Like I tell people, I ain't a millennial, I'm a crack baby. Like my mom ain't do crack. But that era and understanding what that era was for us, and he coming on, fuck that, 8 doobies to the face. And he even in his storytelling of that whole scene of him going to that party in that scene and him answering a question that he asked in the first verse, in the third verse, he's like, oh yeah, we all crack babies, that ADHD crazy. Cause he got ADHD, so he couldn't even pay attention. And when the answer, like literally watching him put like, oh, this fool's a damn genius. Like the song structure.
But what's the cost of genius and what's the cost of artistry? And that's the cost that a lot of people ain't really willing to pay. And like, it's always so easy from somebody on the outside to say, Johnny, do music. But what's the cost when the cost is literally your sanity? And that's what people don't get. When you operating and you creating on that level, like you're out of touch with this reality.
Right.
Like people don't understand relative and absolute truth. And a lot of y'all just reside on relative truth, half truths, things that appear to be truth. So what's the cost? And the cost is your sanity. That's where you get the artists like the Ye's, and you get the artists like the Kendricks, you get the artists like the J. Cole's, who mental health is very fragile, because what's the cost to be somebody else's entertainment? And that's why I'm cool on music, but y'all don't get that.
So it's just being in that realm of like, it's crazy when, how do you get comfortable with knowing you're going to be misunderstood every step of the way? Man, that's a hard, and we discuss our frustrations. I hear the frustrations. Like people be like, he a positive rapper. I'm like, are y'all listening to these songs? Like the turmoil that's going on in his life and how he's working through it. Every song, every step, and trying to make sense of things and having the pressure of being viewed as such, and how that affects how the people closest to him view him, or how he's not able to do things. We talked about one time the song "You" on "To Pimp a Butterfly," and that song, and I use that song to teach in my class because that song is, takes you to a very, very vulnerable place in his mind. And he tells a whole lot in those 5 minutes to deal with that. To deal with that to the point of where you want to, some people in there say control, alt, delete. To the point where you drinking your sorrows. And then drinking your sorrows, bringing out your alter ego, which is telling you you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the world is telling you shit, but this is what's really going on behind the curtain. I think Punch got a song like "The Man Behind the Curtain" with Nick Grant, I believe, on that song. But it's pulling back that layer of, this is the show, this is what y'all see, but because of the show I put on, everything behind me, it costs a benefit. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing that don't have it. When I say everything that glitter ain't gold, like everything is something's gonna be given. And to have an artist like this, to even make it to this magnitude, talking his talk is insane. And I don't think we really give credit. Who else ain't who that can tell these stories? Like the
he started there, and it's not the same level, but he started there. But Ye, like I ain't gonna discredit Ye.
Yeah.
Go back and go listen to Power.
Mm-hmm.
Go listen to all of those albums. Go listen to Crack Music. Go listen about the socially and consciously aware music that he was making and how he was making this stuff palatable and digestible. Go listen to Ye.
Mm-hmm.
Quit sleeping on Ye. People sleep on Ye.
Yeah,
I think Genius did him a great deal, but people slept on him before that. Mm-hmm. Quit sleeping on Ye.
Yeah, man. It's like telling it from like the person who was not afraid to walk in their greatness, mm-hmm. like Ye. Mm-hmm. Be in these rooms with all kind of people mm-hmm. and still talk your shit. Like mm-hmm. to that ultimate belief in self and to push through that is in. Mm-hmm. I don't think people understand. Everybody want to be successful, but again, we see what's we talk often about, mm-hmm. We love Ye for his actual mental health disorder.
That part.
We actually love him for it. Because mm-hmm. when he produces that shit, he's manic. Mm-hmm. mm-hmm. And when he's in a rut, y'all make posts about him in blogs. Mm-hmm. So, but that's the cost, you know what I'm saying? And when we talking about just Kendrick's project, to tell these stories, like I love, like, even just the way it's constructed, like on To Pimp a Butterfly, telling a story about him trying to bring his homie out the hood, which is why the cover is the way it's on there. Mm. He told you, like, the cover got like 15 different meanings. Mm. Just the physical taking your homies into a new space. You know what I'm saying? But the mental aspect of getting them out of, how do you get somebody out of their old tendencies? You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much that went into it, and telling that story, what happened when they went to the BET Awards, like that, mm-hmm. or telling the story of when they, what happened when he was in South Africa, he ran into the homeless man, and the man told him he was God, which may or may not be true, but even the concept of taking care of everybody because you don't know who anybody is, you don't know if that was your moment of truth to prove to yourself worthy for something greater. Did you do your good deed? Did you miss your opportunity? Were you being selfish? Like, these are the things we supposed to embody when we walk by people and don't show gratitude and don't show grace and all these things. Like, that type of stuff are talking about fear. It's one of my favorite songs on that motherfucker, right? To talk about his greatest fear as a 7-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 27-year-old. And to embody the voice of who instilled the fear. You get what I'm saying?
Especially, yeah, because a lot of it do come from the in-home environments. So, no, that was powerful.
So it's those things that we don't see enough of. We don't hear theater. Kendrick is pure theater. It's a performance. The way he says it, the voices he takes on, the little subtle noises in the background of the instrumentation are what make it what it is. Like the construction of how you do it, like Damn, right? When I remember seeing Damn, and I just seen the track list, first thing I said is, oh, this is about what makes him as far as human. All the things you have to deal with in this world. And understanding that the album was actually made in reverse. So really starting out, the first thing you're just giving your name, but even the pressure and understanding where you came from and carrying that, what are you going to do with your name, your last name, your torch? That's your torch. That's your lineage. And going through these things, God, XXX, you know what I'm saying? They're my favorite track. That shit's so turned up, bro. But
I got to go back through and re-listen to Damn. I listened to it, but I got to go back through and re-listen to it.
Get the I forgot what version it's called, but it's in the correct order. Listen to it in reverse. So the track's in the correct order. Then I'm like, okay, now this whole shit makes sense.
That would probably make more sense.
Yeah. But even just seeing it, I was like, and just knowing where he's coming from on it, or me guessing, and then I'm like, oh, all right. Because I'm always thinking, like, I like artistry. I like people who aren't afraid, bro, just to be like, this, it is what it is. I ain't got nothing to lose at this point but a little fame.
That part.
on that level for him. You know what I'm saying? So it almost behoove him not to move how he's supposed to move. Because I think there'll be now greater consequences to not walk in the truth. Like it's a beacon of light that and the light ain't always bright on his end, but it's always seen by everybody who need to see some light. You get what I'm saying? So he might not always be in the best place. He talks about his frustration. He got a whole song with his little cousin, like, boy, I'm finna murder all y'all. The ego jumping up. Just like with his new shit. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I'm like, all right. He finna. Yeah, he just dropped the Heart Part 5, right? Cool. He always gets his heart out there. He wants to let you know where he's coming from, what's been on his mind, what his intentions are. He's always been that. That's why it's called the heart. Let me know. I'm just gearing up for this. This is where I'm coming from out of the space. But we often talk about ego. We often talk about how ego is not always bad. You're not finna call no shit Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, because there's two ways it's gonna go. Either he ain't got nothing but either his close-knit homies on this bitch, or he got every big dog that he think a big stepper out here. This is how I feel about it. And Mr. Morale is him being able to shift energies. I'm the one that set the pace. So in setting the pace, I'm gonna be humble, but I'm also gonna wax you over the head. I'm that dude. Stop fucking with me, bro.
Man, I was talking to Omni and he was like, do you think that the album coming? And I'm like, yeah, I know it's coming. And we was just talking about what do we expect from it. I don't expect nothing. I think that's how people do themselves a disservice, is not being able to experience it for what it is in that moment. I think that having any preconceived notions, any of that stuff, any preconcepts, it kind of almost, even comparing it to any of the past works, it don't allow you to see it for what it is. Once you observe it individually, then you tie it back to the past works and see if it connect. But I think that sometimes we do ourselves a disservice by having expectations of what's supposed to be. I just know it's going to be greatness.
Yeah. And I try not to do it to that. What I try to do is put the puzzle pieces together and then see if I'm right. I'm actually open to, man, this shit went way over there. I'm cool with it. But I think we talk about, I was like, I mean, I don't, especially sonically, I don't have an idea what it's going to be. I don't care. He's just do it. I don't care. I really don't, sonically, I don't care what it's going to be. I've learned to give artists leeway to grow and expand and experiment. You know, one of my favorite people in music is like Vince Staples. He's always shift whatever. He just, I'm like, I'm not gonna give you the same thing. Like, he literally says that. So it is what it is. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna not even judge it. I'm gonna take it in for what it is, and then I'll let you know if I like it. Because without trying to judge it or compare it to the next thing, you can actually enjoy for what that's supposed to be. You got to remember, this is made, and these are, music is time capsules. They're trying to convey something in a time space, like literally physical time space, and mentally whatever space they were in. This is why a lot of artists can't perform certain songs, because they don't want to go back to that space, not to that time. So we have to allow people to be in their time, in their moment, whatever that is, and they ready to throw it out there. And even know that, even though it could be new, if they ain't even there no more, then you might not hear from them no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could have just been a cathartic moment. Let me get this off. But I'm thoroughly excited, bro. Like it's not many things that move me, but art does. Like, go ahead.
I think I'm still, I think it's hard for me to, like, as an observer, it's still hard for me to feel the magnitude. Like, I feel the excitement of the people, but it's hard for me to, like, be in that moment, like, for me. So it's like, I want to see what everything, like, what this all produces. Like, what's the shift that happens, right? Because there's always a light bearer. There's always a torch. There's always somebody who helps push the culture forward, who shifts thought. And I just want to see, like, what's the response from the shift in thought that happens? Like, you know, like, at the end of the day, our condition as Black people, a lot of it is about what we think we deserve. And as we start getting past, like, thinking that we deserve less, we're going to accept what we want. And I think that that's going to be, like, the overall concept of this. of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is we got to understand that it's literally come down to what it think that we believe that we deserve. Like the world will turn aside for any man that has an idea of where he's going, but we don't know that.
Man, that deserve word can be cut so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I love where that first one that you just talked about, based on what we think we deserve, is how we're going to essentially act.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't think we're going to deserve much, we're not going to act in a way that demands much.
Mm-hmm.
If we think we deserve more, we are also going to have the confidence to do more in that and demand it.
And to turn down some stuff that people would think that you should take.
I'm walking.
You turn down that 50 and get 100. You'll turn down that 100 and get 250 because the people don't see the vision that the creator then put on you. And that's the type, like, so for me, like as the world celebrate people like Kendrick dropping music, I think of his mental health. I think of what the toll it takes to create stuff like that. And then I think about how do he balance and find joy, in the midst of all of this, because it's very vulnerable to create that type of art and put yourself forward like that. So for me, I'd look at the other side. I look at the other side of it.
And I think him going on this sabbatical, I thoroughly appreciate. I know people like, when Kendrick dropping? And I didn't even realize it's been 5 years. I'm like, he recharging. Like he dropped, I remember him dropping a little video. You see him talking to some like Asian man, but living. He talked about being on his beach cruisers.
He was on Power.
Yeah.
He was acting.
Yeah, he was acting. He was tapping into other disciplines, other forms of himself, other, you know what I'm saying, other expressions.
And if y'all don't think that ain't about to transfer.
Right. And he's already been theatrical, but he just put himself in front of the screen. Fine. He'd been doing it. I mean, you got the video show that. He's always been that. But just watching him disappear and letting the noise go. And even the lesson in letting the noise go. And until I'm ready to tell you what I'm finna do. And then not even say much. I just send a little letter. But I think he just taking the time to disconnect truly. He talked about not having his phone for months at a time. Just a disconnect to hopefully ground, to hopefully explore, to hopefully not be influenced to the best of your ability to see what you are coming up with. To deal with whatever you got to deal with behind that curtain. Allowing time for it to do. Hopefully not feeling rushed. Like nobody icing for 5 years as active. And even his backing of the label, like, Dot, you know what this go on. Precious. We know what we know. You know what I'm saying? And it's and even just, and I've always said, just seeing his expressions always give me an idea of kind of where he's sitting. Again, he's always honest. Honest don't mean just the words. His language is always honest, bro. His eyes are always honest. Even watching the heart, you know what I'm saying? And watching his actual stature, like looking at him like, so either he been stressed or he been getting healthy, cleansing. But getting these things off that need to be said. But you can always see the toll is taken, and that's why you need the time to process, understand, and then sometimes understand that you won't understand and be okay with that. I appreciate everything and how he does what he does beyond music. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't know, like he married, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Just keeping life. So it doesn't get confused and crossed, which most people in that limelight, they tell you to put everything out there. All publicity is good publicity and all this, but it has its consequences, and to do an amazing job of it. To keep some of those demons. The funny part, to put your demons out and people not know your demons is an artistic mastermind. You get what I'm saying? And to keep family. The only family y'all know he got a sister,
Mm.
and y'all know his little cousin King.
Mm.
Keep family.
Mm.
And it's lessons in how you move. You know what I'm saying? What legacy you gonna leave? What impact are you gonna leave? What they gonna know you for? How you move out here?
Mm.
What'd you do? I know you make, but like, damn. See, this is stuff that's gonna be talked about a generation after he gone, man, this dude getting, man, but how did he do that? How did he keep himself doing this type of music, these type of messages, Super Bowls, Jimmy Fallon, popping you on the head, Grammy, popping you in the head every chance he got,
Mm-hmm.
without the real backlash. There's a power in there, and there's a conversation I wish I could have, and I ain't talking about for the cameras. Just want to talk. Probably could talk to him for hours, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And that type of person, that type of mind, that type of thing, and just be in the midst and just the exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't need nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't even have to tell nobody. I'll tell Johnny and I'll tell my wife.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Had a conversation.
Just a conversation. I don't need you to know I had it. Hell, I got pictures in my phone with famous people now. You don't know how I met and ran into. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for that.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time I don't even like taking a picture because it ain't for that. I'm trying to make a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Do I understand, or do I just think I understand and help me understand?
Mm.
Because that's all I want. That's all I want to do is understand. You great in everything else. I want to understand. So it's man. You can tell that this is my guy, man. I dive into things.
Mm-hmm.
I dive into people when they allow us to see.
Mm-hmm.
And we have enough to at least to see what we should be seeing. But a lot of time it's cloaked by music. It's cloaked by the things we make popular in music. But he expresses himself at one of the highest level I've seen of any person. The expression is higher than as high as any person. I ain't talking music. Like any medium is high. And I don't even want to be here talking about all that, but I'm just saying, like, it's high, bro. And that's the most exciting part for me, is to see him in this element that's got him to where he's gotten, knowing this ain't where he only going. To put a period on his starting grounds with Top. You know what I'm saying? To put it's a period on this. And even watching the maturity and how they moving and a true brotherhood and love to even like, why would I feel you're supposed to grow beyond? That was our point, was you to grow. If we're growing artists, you're supposed to grow beyond what we can even offer you. If you're that great, if you who I thought you were, you're supposed to grow. And them allowing them the space and encouraging it. Even some of the technical stuff of he dropping all the info on PG Lang, even though this is a TDE album. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't. It's a handoff. That's how you know it's a brotherly handoff, bro. This is good bit. It's a brotherly handoff. You seen it coming when Dave left. Dave Free, who's his manager, artistic director for his stuff. When he left a couple years ago, they already knew that was. And then they dropped PG Lang, and that's with directly Kendrick and Dave Free. And I was like, oh yeah, he got to get out of there. He got his own. But it's just a brotherly handoff, bro. A warm handoff, like a send off. And that's why I know this is epic. I don't even know what it's gonna sound like. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be epic. Even if you think the music trash, it's gonna be epic. It's just you get that feeling. Because everything is right about it. I think everything is right around it as far as the pieces coming together with his camp and these things, and it just feels like this is the maturation. And I'm excited for what's to come, bro. That's all. We're gonna see him fly. Lord willing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean by Lord willing. So We protect them at all costs. We say those things, but ain't nobody jumping in front of the bullets. But we gonna protect them at all costs. And protect him up here. Make sure he's, we need these people. People who call things well before they come into fruition. Brother Johnny, you did that. You continue to do it, and we can't even get into everything. If they only knew. If they only knew what you knew. I'm glad they don't, because then it'd be dangerous. So, and I feel the same. So that's why I know you understand how he maneuvers. It ain't, you know what I'm saying?
That's why I'm appreciative. Like, he's not afraid. Like, there was a time period where I was afraid. Like, there was a time period of being afraid, but then there was just a time period of recognizing that people ain't ready. Like, I put it in, what was that? Can I Live? Look around, you be impressed. I talked about like reaching a certain point where, you get a certain enlightenment and you just see that the people ain't ready. So shout out to him just for remaining vulnerable, remaining open, continuing to be that light, continuing to be that medium, continuing to go against the current. Like, that's the way you get the best cut sometimes, is you got to go against the grain. So just going against the grain, man, giving that nice little taper cut, because it's a lot, especially at that level that they create on. I've never rocked no crowds like that. I've created at a semi-high level. I know that the level of which I was about to create at was even higher, because I got to the point of not using pencils and materials to write down my stuff. But it's just, there's a toll that comes with being misunderstood and being out of the times. And I just, for artists like, for the Kendricks, for the artists like the J. Coles, for the Kanyes, just for the artists who create at super high levels where it literally teeters you on the brink of insanity and you go back and forth between what is sane. I just appreciate them for fighting that battle, man. It's our musicians is prophets, man. And there's some people out here who really know how to manipulate the vibrations, the frequencies. They understand the time we in. This is Dr. Strange, man. This is the multiverse, man. And there's some universal weapons, man. Love, truth, peace. And music is a universal weapon. It's the reason why in the multiverse they was using music notes as a weapon. So y'all got to just understand the time period we in. Very few do. The ones who do, they understand what time period you in. They get prepared. They try to prepare the people around them. But for a lot of us, we just walking around in an illusion, and we gonna have to be disillusioned by pain, hurt, and suffering. That's the only thing that's gonna disenchant us from this. We got to be disillusioned.
Yes, sir. And I'm just hoping them pictures he dropped in them photos ain't no illusions, because it's a listening party going on. Hey, that thing better come out. It better come out. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's coming.
Yes, sir. It's coming. Man, he ain't never lied.
It's coming. It's coming. So
he the boogeyman. It's Friday the 13th, bro.
He coming, man.
You can't be the boogie. Like, to pick it on purpose. That had to be on purpose.
It was on
Friday the 13th.
He coming, man. He coming.
And
you can't see like the shift where music was, you know what I'm saying? Like Nas came, you can't see that type of stuff and like, I want to not say I don't want to play too. You get what I'm saying? Like, bruh, I hear certain beats and shit. I'm like, oh man, I want to play too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't hear that and don't think you don't want to play too. Right. So thank y'all for waking up a monster, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
That part.
Took a little while, but he was like, go sleep. Oh. Y'all still on bullshit. But now some people coming out that ain't on bull. Ooh. Appreciate y'all, Griselda. Nice. You gonna act like you ain't old. All right. J. Cole, chill out.
That part.
Okay. Drake, you still partying? Okay. And just, man. All right. I guess I get up. All right. Yeah, man. He said we're gonna be all right. And we could have went on the tie-in from the All Right video to the Drop a PG Lane to like just even the visuals looked like they were all shot at the same time. Well, not even that, just literally in PG Lang's commercial they dropped, right? That visual. Remember in All Right when he was floating, right? He was all in the air. And in PG Lang, he's literally sitting at the top of the light pole sleep. Like literally telling you, when it's time to wake up, I'll wake up. Because Georgia Smith was down and said, I wonder what he's thinking up there. Like the ties from this to this to this is next level.
Yes, sir.
He thought he's on like city planning, right? 20-year plans,
yes,
like,
sir.
And just rolling it out.
Sir.
You think it's like, oh, this is just crazy. This is a crazy. Like, no, go look at it. He's tying. He done tied it all. Yeah, man.
It's just beautiful, man. Artistry at its highest level, finest level, man. So, just like I said, man, I like Cole more, but Kendrick is just different. Kendrick is different.
I don't. Kendrick is one. Ain't never wavered in that. Sorry for you. It's because it's the art, bro. Like, you gotta understand, like I love dance. Like I love interpretive dance. I go to interpretive dance by myself. So the using of all your visual and cues sonically, I'm always been astute to try to put together what you're trying to say. So I've always had him there because that's what he does. So I can get the full grasp of it. Yeah, you can't even shake me off my tree for that one. Like that's me. I ain't tripping.
It's just personal. It's personal preference. It's just down to personality. I like Cole more. He's more personable, a little bit more open with the thing. It's just Kendrick is just next level. Like, with certain people, it's just kind of like that quote Charles Barkley just said the other day about Phil Mickelson versus Tiger Woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, what like certain people, it's about business. You know what it is. You just gonna be, And I just say that, I like Cole. Cole shifted a lot of shit for me. He really did. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the vulnerability in him talking about the lower nature things. Kendrick just come from a more, it's a metaphor. It's a simile. It's a full concept. Cole do this. He do it too, but it's just Kendrick just do it at a different level.
It's just a different way to paint that picture, bro. Like it's like the people who know how to do colors and abstract art in a certain way where you still get it versus the person that knows how to do portraits but do them with dots. Both highly skilled. And they paint a beautiful picture regardless. They just look different. And it's based on your eye and your original reference points on what do you think is dope. Do you think the tediousness is dope? Do you think the abstract way of painting in the stroke of this, you can tell which way it was painted. You can tell, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all about that. But yeah, man, we gotta, Dot, man, we here.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. And it's, glad you're here. I met Cole, so but I ain't met Dot. So
had a chance, like Nipsey came out here. Like that would have been one of the, so if I could ever, get that sit down conversation and just that'd be beautiful, man. Kendrick, Cole, that'd be beautiful, man. And some other young bucks who I really appreciate their mind too. So
yeah, well, that's a whole nother episode of that list because I used to tell people it's I've been able to meet some of the people on my list. I've met Saul Williams and chopped it up with him. If y'all don't know who that is, go look him up. One of my favorite poets of all time, a real pusher of black music because he does. Go listen to Niggy Tardust. You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah, but I've been was not able to meet Brother Nip. But people like Vince Staples high on that list. But it's it's certain ones. Badu, Miss Badu, and just sure the camera be good for some ratings and shit, but I want to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to build. I don't need. Nothing else rolling, ain't no secret audio. I don't need all that. I don't need the picture after. As long as one person know I actually did it.
That part.
Johnny, you was there.
That part. Hey, we witnessed it.
Loved it. I'm old. I love urban legends. So like, man, you ain't talked to them. I don't see no pictures. Bro, we talk. This is like I'm saying. So yeah, man. Just again, man, Kendrick Lamar, Friday the 13th.
Man.
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Man. Might even have to do a little special after we actually listen to the album and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely, man.
I don't know. I won't call it a review. We might do a dissection. We'll get in there.
Yeah, shit. You done taught whole classes off of this man's CDs before. So.
Yeah. I'll be going there with it. So, man, Kendrick Lamar, man, from us to you, man, you get your concrete rose, brother. We want you around. And when I say want you around, I mean I want you to drop music all the time. We want you around. I'm excited for what you got coming. I'm excited to see you. And that's something I don't know, bro. Like, it's very few people. I'm excited to see them. Like, all right. We appreciate you. To drop a song we know you wrote probably back in 2014. And for it to be a song used for our plight and to get through our struggles with police brutality, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see what others haven't seen yet, to know what's coming, to put it out there. Just, bro, to write like the heart. I don't know if did he just write that? Or did all the characters and the faces that were put on there just fit somehow? Will was current now. Did they just fit? Was he calling it? See, that's the kind of question I want to know. When did you actually pen that? And did it just fit like you knew? Like, I knew something was coming down the pipe like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, man, just the love you show to others, like to the people that really held it down, like to show love to Nip in that way, to talk from his perspective, from your eyes, is to send that message through that song like that. I'm sure Black Sam wanted to and needed to hear that. I'm sure his family wanted and needed to hear that. I'm sure the people around Nip and the love from his neighborhood wanted it and needed to hear that. And just to keep, they say you die twice, once in your flesh and the second when people stop speaking about you. And to make sure he's still alive is rarely done. Especially for an album rollout. Like, that's the message you wanted to send. Is extremely appreciative of your canter, your vulnerability, man. You get our concrete rose, brother. We excited. I'm glad you here. I'm glad it's music, and I'm so glad it's gonna be much, much, much more. Blessings to you and your family, your people, your company, everybody you bringing into the fold, man. Like, this is what it's about, and he's expanding on his purpose. He's getting to what he's really supposed to be here for, and I'm ready for it. Man, you got anything?
Man, that's it, man. Just it's been a beautiful day, man. That's it, man. Just, thank you for doing the concrete roses. I think I called it the roses that grow from asphalt. So, I like them little asphalt roses, man. So we got the concrete roses out here, man. Just shout out to the people who making it do what it do, man. So thank everybody for tuning in, for joining us. You know what I'm saying? Looking forward to the next rendition, man.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Streets A&R Podcast, man. We catch y'all later.
Peace.
The beats, the flow, the rhythm. All movement starts from the streets. Streets A&R Podcast.